Hola, hello, my name is Natalia and welcome to Bori Abroad. Welcome to Travel Tuesday. I'm sick, probably sound stuffy. I apologize for that. If you've been part of Bori Abroad or have seen any of my videos, you know that I am in Brazil right now on a Fulbright scholarship. And my past couple of videos have been about Brazil, getting here, Sao Paulo, Carnaval, but I thought I would do something different for this Travel Tuesday. For this Travel Tuesday, we're gonna be talking about the best summer of my life so far. I studied abroad in Paris for a month during the summer of 2018.
It's little me off to Paris.
And it was the best trip ever. I met the best people ever. I took an amazing class, which I still remember today, which is why I'm talking about it. I am taking some ideas from the class that I took, and I am taking you on a journey of Paris through the ages. There are so many places that I learned during this class that I wanted to share. So a little history lesson, and if you're in Paris, you can visit these places and really see how the city has changed. Before getting into the video, don't forget to follow Bori Abroad on all your favorite social media platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. There are videos every Tuesday and or Thursday. Like and comment down below if you've ever been to Paris or if it's on your bucket list. Let's go to the city of romance, the city of love. Here are 15 places to explore Paris's history. To begin talking about Paris as a city, the first place that I went to that kind of represented when Paris started was the medieval garden of Cluny. However, this is super interesting because it has old thermal baths from the 1300s, and it also has, I believe my professor said, the oldest wall or oldest door in Paris. I saw my first French rat when I went there. On our list is a very, very common cathedral, Notre Dame. I'm placing it between the 1100s and the 1300s, and Notre Dame is very particular and unique because of its size. When they were trying to build it, they were trying to build a huge cathedral with these glass stained windows. The point was to make it super bright. However, the structure of it didn't work in their favor because it was so big that the light couldn't travel through the whole structure. The entrance of the cathedral has so much symbolism that you should really take a look at. If I wasn't in the class, I wouldn't have taken a look at it, but it has really, really cool information about the time and the place and all the symbolism of Catholicism that it has there. The third place that we're going to talk about is Castle of Vincennes. I believe that's how you say it. It is a little bit outside the city as a whole, like of Paris. This structure, you can really see that it's a fortress of between the 1200s and the 1300s. And it was super interesting because when you're there, you can really imagine how the structure was used. Philip III and IV, I believe, used this castle fortress. And if you're a history junkie, you will definitely love this place. Now, let's talk about Versailles, the Palace of Versailles. We're now talking about the 15th century here. Louis XVI is known to expand the Versailles Palace, even though it was used as a hunting lodge in previous years. Versailles was insane. I don't know who needs that much property, who needed that much property. The house was insane. It was so much to see, and I couldn't imagine living there. It would be very overwhelming. My favorite part was like the gardens and the lakes and all of the green structure outside of the palace itself. Go visit it. It's not in Paris, but it contributed a lot to the history of the city and of France. Another famous structure that everyone in the world probably knows is the Louvre. We're going to the 14th century for this one, and Charles V was the one that utilized the Louvre as a place that he stayed at. The museum and all of its art is amazing. However, when I went with my class, we talked about the walls surrounding the Louvre. A lot of people don't pay attention to this, they just want to go to the pyramid. Understandable, pretty cool. But the walls around the Louvre have so much history and symbolism as well that if you do a little bit of research before going and then actually see it, it makes so much sense. It's a story, and I really appreciate that architects in the past put a story to everything that they did. You don't really see that anymore. La Mosquée, I really don't know how to say it, was a palace used in the 17th century by Henry IV. There are a lot of historical buildings. A lot of people say if you want to know what medieval Paris was like, that the Marais like really captures that. What I can really remember from the Marais was this quiet garden in the middle of the city that when you walked in, you couldn't hear any of the commotion from the cars or anything outside. I believe this was the Jardin de l'Hôtel de Cent. I have so many languages mixed up in my head, like I can't do French right now either. Very nice, and it has a lot of shops and things like that. There's also the Picasso Museum really nearby, so the Marais can be like a day activity for you. Le Panthéon is another place that I really liked. Other than its fascinating structure that was used in the 16th century by Napoleon I, it had the Foucault pendulum, and it is basically like a pendulum that goes with the Earth's rotation, like a huge one. It was insane. That was my favorite thing there. On to my favorite place in Paris, the Opéra Garnier. It was in the 17th century. Napoleon III ordered this to be built. It was incredible, magical, a awing experience. This was my favorite place for sure. I wish I would have gone back and appreciated more of its art. It is amazing. Just everything. When you, even outside, you see it outside, you walk in, it's like you really can't believe that people from the 17th century actually did this. Yeah, it took over 10 years to build, but it's amazing. We all know the Eiffel Tower. 17th century as well. The Eiffel Tower was part of a world exhibition and people hated it. People thought it was ugly. I would understand why, since it was so different. I don't think it's ugly, but I would understand why people would hate it because it was so different. It's very rough looking. You can definitely look up some cool history about the Eiffel Tower and appreciate more than just being like an icon of Paris. Les Halles is a really busy station in the metro of Paris. It used to be like a central marketplace in the 17th century for every Parisian. However, today it is a modern wonder. It has this huge shopping mall with this very interesting ceiling, and all the structures and the art and everything around it is modern now. It was kind of demolished and rebuilt in the 1960s, which explains why you have so much modernness in a place that used to be the marketplace of Parisians. Close to Les Halles is Centre Pompidou. This place, I have mixed feelings about it because I didn't like how it looked. It is a museum structure type thing where different artsy things go on, and it's very different. Apparently, during the 1960s, they held a contest to build like a structure there, and these two architects apparently entered the contest as a joke and actually won because their structure took less space than the one given to them by the city. It's very different. I feel like it's out of place. I did not really like it. And when I was gonna visit it, it was closed, and I was like, you know what? Our relationship's over before it even started. Definitely one of the most unique things I saw in Paris. La Défense is basically the financial district of Paris, the most modern part of Paris, or one of them. It was built in the 1980s, and I was very surprised to see something like this, because when you think of Paris, you think of the old streets, the old buildings, and then you go to La Défense, and it's very modern structures. They have a modern Arc de Triomphe. It was just very interesting because you don't really think that a city like this can have something modern, but it's the 21st century, so obviously it was gonna have something modern. You just never think of it. In the modern realm, we also have Bercy. Things that I can remember from this area that we visited was the park had a rose garden that smelled so much like roses because it was like enclosed and you had to go to it. It was so nice. There were lots of student housing and they were nice. Lots of parks. I would describe it as like a Chelsea kind of area in New York City if you've ever been. The park was beautiful. The thing that I can remember from here is the National Library. It was so cool because it is 4 buildings, but they're books. It was built in the 1990s, and it's just another part of the modern Paris and what they want to add to the tomorrow Paris. I know that I only mentioned a few things. Paris is a huge city with a lot of history, and I talked about every single place that you could visit to actually see the history of Paris. We would be here 2 hours. I know I left out Sacré-Cœur. I left out Hôtel de Ville, which is City Hall. That was in the 17th century, late 17th century. Hôtel National des Invalides is the army war museum. I went there as well. 15th century, and it's cool because Napoleon I's body is buried there, and I saw the tomb of Napoleon. You also know the Arc de Triomphe. I believe it's the late 19th century. There are so many beautiful places in Paris and in France that have so much history, and like I said, we could be here 2 hours talking about all of them. That was my guide to Paris through the ages. I feel like it gave you old, it gave you medieval, it gave you Gothic, Renaissance, and modern. I feel like we covered all the bases. Thank you so much for watching this Travel Tuesday. I hope you guys liked it. Don't forget to like this video and leave a comment down below if you've ever been to the city for romance, love, and follow Bori Abroad on all your favorite social media platforms. I hope you guys are enjoying my vlog so far. It's been a month since I created it, and I've received a lot of positive feedback. I really want to thank you all for tuning in. I will hopefully see you guys Thursday. Bye. Peace out. Girl Scout.